All right, guys, welcome to another video from Autoscope. Today, as you can see, I have the 2026 Chevy Equinox EV. This is the LT2 or 2LT trim. Just wanted to show you guys a little bit about this car, give you a quick kind of first look review that I was able to do. The local dealership here in my area has been nice enough to loan this one out to me for the weekend, just like they did with the Silverado EV not too long ago. So I'm very grateful to them. Of course, check the description for the link for their dealership. That way, if you're looking for a Chevrolet electric vehicle or really any vehicle, they would be more than happy to hook you up, I'm sure. Also, thank you to Les Young. There's one of the sales managers there. He's the one I've been working with, and he's been really awesome at letting me get a vehicle when I'm available and when works for them. So anyways, this is the 2026 Chevrolet Equinox EV LT2. This one has the single motor, so it's front wheel drive only, not the all-wheel drive model, although that is available. This particular one has an 85 kilowatt hour battery, giving you an EPA estimated 319 miles of range. So the single motor on this one outputs about 220 horsepower, and you'll get 243 pound-feet of torque. So honestly, this one's probably one of the lesser peppy electric vehicles that I've driven. Just with that horsepower number, it's not bad by any means, but for an electric vehicle, it's on the lower side for sure. But still got plenty of get up and go to get you in the passing lane and pass a vehicle, things like that. So this one will go about 0 to 60 in roughly 5.8 seconds, and it actually can tow 1,500 pounds. So that will most definitely impact your range. Of course, the EPA estimates about 319. A lot of 70 mile an hour range tests that I've seen on these, it's going in the high 200s on a highway, 70 mile an hour range test. So somewhere probably around 270 miles or so at highway speeds. Of course, if you're more so of a mix or mostly in the city, you'll get a lot closer to that 319 number that Chevy advertises. But it can tow up to about 1,500 pounds. So if you did need that by chance, that's available on the Equinox. The cargo space on this one, just to throw out some numbers at you, and I'll go ahead and show that while I'm mentioning it here. So it does have a power lift gate, and cargo space here with the seats up is 26.4 cubic feet, and then with those back seats laid down, it's 57.2 cubic feet. So you do have space here underneath. I thought this was actually kind of nice. It's got stuff for your air compressor and stuff like that here, and then of course it comes with your mobile charging cable. It has both the 110 and the 220 volt adapters with it. That way you can charge level 1 or level 2 at home. This is a case to carry the charging cable for the owner whenever it gets purchased. And you got a nice size sub trunk there, definitely big enough for a good size duffel bag or something like that to put underneath the floor when you're traveling. So that certainly does help out, given that the cargo space is somewhat on the smaller size, but for the segment, subcompact SUV, it's pretty much right on par with what you see most of the time. Those seats do lay down flat, so I can show you. I've actually got a car seat on one side there, but I can put down the other side here so that you guys can see how that works. So right here, you just got a handle. You just press that in, and the seat will lay down flat. And so you can see here that with those seats laid down, you'd have quite a bit of space to put almost anything that you could need. That 57.2 cubic feet, again, is the number there. I will say you can tell this is one of GM's more budget-friendly electric vehicles. Things like this here just kind of juts out from the latch where the seat locks into place here. When you put it back up, not being integrated into the side somehow, I think that could have been nice. Because if you're trying to slide larger objects in, this jutting out a couple of inches on both sides for that seat as well there. And then this one does kind of impact, you know, how wide it can be up on the upper part. However, you do have these jutting out as well for the wheel wells. So I guess on the bottom part, it wouldn't make that big of a difference for larger items sliding in, because they'd have to be that wide anyways to go in. But anyways, that's just a nitpicky detail that I'm pointing out there. So that's the rear end. And it does have power lift gate, so you can press that button to adjust the height for your garage or whatever. Press and hold that till you hear a beep, sets the new height. And you got this nice light bar that goes across the rear. If you guys can see that, I think it looks pretty nice, integrated nicely into the rear tail lamps there. Of course, you can see Equinox in the back there with the infamous blue E for the GM products. You do have rear reversing sensors on this model, being the LT2. You got the nice, I do like the door handles on this one, kind of Tesla-like, where they, you know, fold in flush when you're driving for a little bit better aerodynamics. And then they'll pop out as long as the key's nearby. This one does have 360-degree cameras as well. So you've got the cameras at the bottom of the mirror caps, as well as one on the back and in the front. So your front camera is going to be here, just in the front, underneath the Chevy emblem. You do not get front parking sensors on this model though. I think that's only available on the upper trim levels, but you do still have the camera. And when you're pulling in parking and it press the camera button on the inside, it will show you a front view so that you can still scoot up really close to something if you have a tight garage or something like that. So anyways, continuing around here, you do have good set of tires actually on this. It's the Michelin Primacy all-season tire. The size is 245/55 R19, so you got 19-inch rims on this one. Fairly aerodynamic with the black inserts there. But I think they look pretty nice. 19-inch for this trim level and this price point is not too bad. Speaking of the price point for this one, you can see the window sticker here. After destination is $43,295. Again, this is the 2026 Equinox EV LT2. So continuing around here, you also do get blind spot monitoring in the mirrors there, and then your charge port is located up on the front left. I like to see a manual charge port door, unlike the Blazer EV from GM is power, and that's just, I feel like I've seen a lot more negative feedback on that one than positive anyways. But anyways, you have your regular J1772 charging port right there for level 1 and level 2 charging at home. And then this here you just pull out to show the DC pins. DC fast charging specs on this one is rated at 150 kilowatt speeds peak. So it doesn't hold out that 150 for very long at all. That's the peak you'll get, and then you'll see it start to steadily drop down as the vehicle gets more and more charge. I actually did take this to a local DC fast charger in the area. We have an Iona rechargery relay in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. If you're in the area with your EV driving through, you should check it out. It's a fairly nice charging station, super reliable, very fast. Those are 400 kilowatt Alpatronic chargers at that location. and so I easily was able to get like in the low 150s. I think it peaked at around 153 or 154. I'll throw a screenshot up so that you can see that, because when I picked this up from the dealer, it actually only had 10% charge, so I took it by there and topped it off just a little bit, just to get myself back home where I could charge it in my own garage overnight the rest of the way for what I needed. But anyways, at that rate, on a 350 or 400 kilowatt hour DC fast charger, you can expect to go from 10% to 80%, like on a road trip, in about 39 minutes or so. Is pretty average, and that's kind of what I've been seeing from other charging curve videos online as well. Of course, the home charging with level 2, you'll easily charge overnight about 9.5 hours or so, at typical speeds of like 9 kilowatt speeds, or whatever your setup looks like. That could be a little different, but easily overnight regardless of what your setup is on level 2. And then if you're only charging at level 1, you can expect to get about 1% per hour or so when charging at level 1 overnight at home. So anyways, that is the exterior of the Equinox EV. We'll hop on the inside and show you that next. All right, guys, so now you join me inside here of the 2026 Chevrolet Equinox EV. Just wanted to show you a little bit of the interior, kind of the setup and spaciousness and features. So this one, being the 2LT trim level, gives you a little bit extra features on the inside, including wireless charging. So you have a wireless charging pad here for your phone, along with some decent storage there. You get a nice 17.7 inch infotainment screen here. Actually looks really nice with the map and everything as well. Let me get through those so that you guys can see. There we go. So the resolution and everything is really nice on this screen. That's really helpful, and a really large area for the map to appear on when you're driving. Now, of course, GM products do not have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto in any of their electric vehicles, and I think maybe even moving forward, they've just made the decision not to have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto in any of their gas or hybrid products either. So, some people love that decision, some people hate that decision. So just take that into consideration when you are considering a GM product moving forward. But up front here with the instrument cluster, you can go through different screen options by pressing this button on the steering wheel here. So if I press that button, this is kind of your main screen where you have your audio information on the right, if you're listening to the radio or have your phone synced, what have you. And then on the left, you can actually choose between what you want. But I found you can't really just toggle through with like these buttons here on the steering wheel with what shows there. You actually have to set that up in the main screen. So as you're looking at whatever kind of information that you want to look at, let's say, for example, energy info, if you click into your efficiency, right now I have it set to have that on the driving display. I could remove that. Or if I wanted energy usage, I could hit add to driver display, and then now that has updated there. So then if I go back to the efficiency, just because that's what I like to see, add that to the display, it kind of updates there. So anyways, that's a little bit awkward and maybe a little bit of a learning curve. I don't know why GM chose that instead of just having some options here just to kind of toggle through. That way you can get to them a little bit easier and quicker. But nonetheless, that's how you do that. And then in the center, you have your miles per hour. You got your charge level there on the left. So right now I'm sitting at 66% state of charge with a projected 232 miles of range left down in the bottom left. And then on the right side, on the right side of your speedometer, you have your power meter. So anything here and above is using power. Down here is your regen. And then of course you got your seatbelt monitors there and the mileage down below. This one currently has 92 miles on it. I think it had like 23 when I picked it up from the dealership the other day. Of course, you do get a volume knob here, so you do still get some physical controls, which is nice. So your volume knob is here. That will control your navigation volume, your phone volume, and the radio volume, all in one. You have your temperature knobs here, so you can control the temperature here, or you can use the left and right arrows at the temperature to set that. And then your fan speed here, or again, fan speed is also available on the touchscreen. And then you do also have just on and off for, there you go, you can see it better now, on and off for the climate control. You can put it in auto, AC on and off, your defrost controls, and all that good stuff. So, and then you do get manual air vents as well in the front, 2 below the screen. And then on the left and right, you get these circular kind. So this one on the interior is just black. It has the Evo Tex is what it's called, seats. They're pretty nice. It's pretty much like a faux leather type material with a little bit of cloth, like textile inserts here, just around like the shoulders, and then on both sides of the seat here. That's a cloth material. But then this is like a faux leather. They are heated seats, but not ventilated on this trim. But they are pretty comfortable so far. I don't have any gripes about them, at least so far anyways. Here, of course, you have 2 cup holders, 2 USB-C charging ports, and then you also get like a little storage slot there. I've been kind of putting my phone in there. It's almost the perfect size there for your smartphone to go if you don't need to put it on the wireless charger. And then underneath, that's kind of a floating style armrest and console here. You get more storage underneath, so I've just got random things thrown under there, but that's nice for larger items that you might want to stow away. And then I believe you have a 12 volt, if you can see, maybe, yep. So there you have a 12 volt charger port as well, for if you need that at all. On your door panel here, you've got the blue accents again, blue accents throughout up on the dash, there, and then also here in the center as well. And at night, there are areas here on this, and then this area here of the door panel, and of course on the driver's side here as well, that are ambient lights. So in the nighttime, you can go here, turn your ambient lighting on, choose between all those colors, and adjust how bright it is right there. So I thought that was pretty nice to be included on this trim level, ambient lighting. You have your unlock, your lock button there on the door, standard door handle to open, a little bit of storage right there. You got down windows, just the driver only is automatic, and then your side mirror controls there. So pretty standard. Here you do have a few more controls. This is going to be your dimmer for the instrument cluster lights. Auto hold, if you don't have it in one pedal drive, then it will have an auto hold to hold you still at a stoplight. Open the rear hatch, lane centering, and your emergency parking brake. So nonetheless, that's pretty much the driver area. You do have your typical hazards right up there, control with your OnStar and your lights. There is no sunglass storage pocket or anything up here in this particular model. And then your visor is pretty standard there. All right, so that's pretty much the front of the 2026 Chevy Equinox EV. I guess I could show you the glove compartment. It's a pretty decent size for the size vehicle, so good storage there, as well as what you get here. Here on this driver panel, the door pocket doesn't offer that much storage, but you do technically have a space for like a water bottle, maybe a small umbrella or something right there. So and that's the infamous chimes from GM that just absolutely will not go off. I've looked everywhere in the settings, cannot find a spot to turn those chimes off. And I think that's pretty much the consensus from most people that I've seen online reviewing these vehicles as well. The chimes are just relentless. So anyways, we will hop out here and I'll jump in the back so that you can see behind my driving height how much space you have in the back seat. I was actually pleasantly surprised by how much space you do get in the back here of the Chevy Equinox. So I am 5'9", maybe a hair over 5'9", and that is set for how I would drive. Granted, I don't like to recline a whole lot when I'm driving, but it is at a decent back angle. So anyways, I've got tons of leg room. That's, you know, plenty of space for me to put my feet under the front seat there, stretch out, whatever I need to do. I have plenty of space back here. So if a driver is taller than me, 6 foot, they could come back easily, and the back area still have a pretty good amount of storage. Also, you can see here I have my son's car seat in the back. He is still rear facing, 2-year-old. This is a fairly bulkier type seat, I would say. It's got the adjustable leg room here that can adjust in and out to give them longer or more leg room to help keep them rear facing, which is safer longer. And even with that, kind of extended out a little bit for extra leg room and tilted backwards just a little bit for a little bit of a recline. It does go all the way up against that back seat there, but it fits nicely. And I feel like it still leaves the passenger pretty good bit of room. I'll get up there in just a minute and show you kind of how much room I have with the current setup the way it is. But you do get 2 rear air vents here, and then you have 2 further down. There they are, 2 USB-C charging ports in the back. Rear seats are not heated or anything like that, but it's the same materials as up front. So you've got a little bit of textile material on the sides of the seats, but the rest of it is that faux leather. Pretty comfortable. And then your door, standard opening there. You got your window control, a little bit of storage here, and then a little bit of storage there as well for a small water bottle or something like that. Doesn't really go back in there too much at all. Like right there's the end. So not a lot of storage in the doors, but you know, that's not the end of the world. Also sad to see that you don't get a storage pocket on the back of either of, actually I lied, you don't get one here on the driver's side, but you do get one on the passenger side for some reason. So not really sure why Chevy chose to only give you one storage pocket in the back, but nonetheless, that's the decision. So now I'll jump out and show you the passenger side, legroom and everything with how we currently have the setup. All right, so with that car seat behind me, you know, again, I'm 5'9", maybe a hair over, so mostly average adult. I still have, you know, plenty of room to stretch out however I need to. So no complaints here in terms of interior space for the most part. I will say I typically drive larger vehicles, so this just seems small in general for me. So if you're the type of person that typically likes a larger vehicle with lots of cargo space, lots of like room in this area just to throw stuff and let things accumulate from day to day, like multiple cups, things like that, this might feel a little bit small to you, but for most other people, I think it's got plenty of space, especially for it being a subcompact SUV. Now just quickly to show you through a little bit more of the settings here. So this does have Google built in. So you have your Google Assistant there. The Maps is Google built in as well. So it automatically does the EV routing for you, just as though regular Google Maps would do for you. You know, some people love Google Maps for EV routing, some people don't. So just take that into consideration. And you could also, I'm sure, download other apps, use a better route planner and stuff like that as well. But your home screen just has this screen here. You can go to the Play Store. You can look at charging information. Like right now, you know, we have it set to charge up to 80%, which would be roughly 282 miles given our current recent efficiency levels. That's on the Charge Now screen. You can do Charge Later. That way, if you want to go ahead and plug it in, and then it will start charging at whatever time you specify, and then you can toggle it on or off to let it precondition the battery as well. So I love to see that you can toggle that here in the infotainment pretty easily as well. That way, especially in the cold months, your battery can be good and warm to help improve your efficiency, so that you don't drain as much of your battery just while you're driving out and about during the cold months. So here over on the left side of the screen, you can see this here is lit up. That's your one pedal driving. You've got some other controls here that you can toggle on and off. That's your headlights for it to be auto, off, parking lights, or just on. Of course, I have it on auto right now. Some other options there. You can also set up here, if you have your My Chevy account logged in, which I don't. This vehicle's currently in demo mode since I have it on loan from the dealership. But you can do that to set up some more charging features. You can create a schedule. That way, if you needed to charge different times during the week for work versus on the weekend, you can easily do that. And then you can set level 2 charge cord limit. So if you want to limit it in the vehicle at 16 amps or 24 amps, you can, or you can do automatic and it will just do what the charger is able to do based on the car. You can set a preconditioning temperature. So all these type of settings I really like to see in an EV. I think some other manufacturers could do a little bit more of that. This is if you had a phone connected, shortcut to get there. These up here are all shortcuts. That's for maps, for your music. Of course, you can do USB, AM, FM radio, Sirius XM, and then Bluetooth, which is probably what most people will do. You have some kind of standard controls that are kind of easy to get to. So you could do like power window lockout, bring up the cameras. You can kind of see how the camera, the 360-degree camera is there. So on the left, it shows the vehicle in the lines. This is a front view. You can also click here and do like an overhead view. So that shows you kind of overhead at the front end what you're looking like. You can also press this to go on the rear end to see kind of like, you know, how far you are into the lines, if you're sticking out any, stuff like that. You can look at the sides so you can see, am I really good and inside the lines, which I am. And you can even look at the hitch, since this can tow 1,500 pounds if you were trying to line it up with a trailer. So some pretty good options there with the camera controls. And then you can go into settings from there. That way, overall, the camera's pretty good in this vehicle. I just would like to see front parking sensors as well for a beep. But again, this is a somewhat lower level, so I think it's fine nonetheless, just to be able to have the camera at least. You do have a second row there of controls as well. Again, that's back to the controls, which that shortcut is up here, your phone, your maps, and your audio, and then everything else, different drive modes. In this one, we have it in normal right now, but you can put it into sport, snow and ice, or my mode is something you can set up personally, so you can edit that there, and you can choose different things. So you can put steering in normal or sport, put the brake feel in normal or sport. Also, your acceleration can be relaxed, normal or sport. And then you have your motor sound, which now is set to normal. You can do it for sport or just turn it off altogether. Kind of, you know, feeds in an artificial engine sound inside the cabin when you're accelerating. And then you can set up my mode to where you can choose your favorite everyday driving settings to personalize kind of how you want it to be. So that's pretty nice there. And then you have also a trailer setting there as well. That way you can do a light test there and then go through a checklist as well if you're hooking up a trailer. So all those are nice to see. You can also do that just in the trailering section there. Again, you have ambient lighting. Love to see that on this. Lots of color options, and you can set different colors for different drive modes as well. So that's a nice touch. Let's see, what else? I also have climate controls, the Play Store to download apps, Wi-Fi hotspot, all those good things. So overall, I think the infotainment's pretty nice. Love the screen size, and I just wish it had Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Hopefully GM will change their stance on that in a little while. So nonetheless, we'll see what they decide about that. All right, guys, so thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. This was the 2026 Chevrolet Equinox EV, the LT2 or 2LT. Of course, I want to give a huge thank you to Parks Chevrolet in Kernersville, North Carolina, especially Les Young, the sales manager there, for being so incredible and letting me borrow the car for 2 or 3 days over the weekend here, so that I could have an opportunity to drive it and give you a pretty quick first look review at the Chevy Equinox EV. I will have their link below in the description. That way you can visit their website, take a look at their inventory, and reach out to them. Ask for Les, let them know that I sent you, if you're in the market for a new Chevrolet vehicle. All right, thanks for sticking around. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That really helps the channel out, and we'll see you again on the next one. Thanks.